Greetings, everybody. Nina here, and welcome to this week's Nina's Truth. And today I thought maybe we'd take a look at the Igigi and the fallen angels. Are they the same beings? It seems to me that their story is quite similar. So we're going to take a look at that tonight. Now, my co-host, Robert, seems to be missing in action tonight. Don't know what's going on. I haven't heard from him, so there could be an internet issue. I know I'm still having some issues here myself. Can't seem to put links in the in the studio here. So I'm not sure what's going on. There's been a lot of issues this week. And I know we're having the major solar flares right now, solar storms, which does affect electronics. And I know with my studio here, I had problems on Wednesday. Last night, Robert had some issues as well. And basically all the other live streams as well have had issues. So bear with me. I'm hoping that there's nothing going on. If you guys can let me know whether you can hear me okay, see me okay. Hopefully everything is running smoothly here. Let me know, okay? I do have a chat here as well, so I can kind of see who's here. But I know that yesterday, Share the Truth was in here first. And then today, early in the chat was Scotty Boy and Star Ruby. Welcome, everybody. I hope that you guys are doing well. So like I said, I can't put any links in here, so bear with me. If you're wondering about links to all my stuff, of course, you can find that down in the description of every single video, okay? I really want you guys to follow me over on Rumble if you haven't already. I do have 2 Rumbles, so the Nina's Truth is where Sunday shows end up, okay? All of them, most of them, I should say. If it's Nina's Truth Talk, most likely that's where we're going to end up, okay? But also up on my Odysee. All my shows get uploaded there, okay? Afterwards. So if you go to my YouTube and you're like, well, where's all the shows? Most of them are probably been unlisted right after I've done them, okay? However, if I do find that, man, you know, like this one here, this one's probably going to stay up on YouTube, I think. I can't imagine getting into something that's going to get me into trouble. So I'll probably leave this one up. The last one about the catacombs, I left that one up too. But most of the time, if there is controversial subjects and whatnot, you know, political stuff and whatever, then it'll be unlisted off of YouTube right after the live, okay? And then re-uploaded to the Rumble and Odysee, okay? So I'm really trying to focus on those channels, because if it wasn't for those channels, honestly, I would have lost all my content. It's basically all my stuff is backed up there. So if you're interested in the old stuff, the Odysee will have it there, as well as the old Rumble will also have all the old stuff, okay? So if you guys are new and you haven't seen a lot of my stuff, I did over, I don't know, 200 shows, I think. 250 shows or something like that on my other channel. So there's a lot of content that I've done already that be worth going to take a little check-see there and see if you resonate with that. I see Share the Truth is here now. Welcome. And then also the Twitter. Okay, I'm going live right now on Twitter. I really want to grow the Twitter, okay, because Twitter, I'm hoping, is going to be okay for the Sunday shows. So I am going live there for both shows there as well. So if you're on Twitter anyways, make sure that you follow me on the Twitter, okay? And like I said, the Rumble and the Odysee. So that's kind of what I'm focusing on now. But I also have an Instagram. That one's kind of fun. You know, it's a lot more stuff there to do, sort of with your posts and whatnot. So it's a fun place to post, basically. So I'm looking to grow that as well. So all the links to all my social media, all the channels that I'm on will be in the description of pretty much every video. Okay, so go and check that out. And I also have links to the 2 things that I'm going to be showing you here today. That will also be in the description, okay? So if you want to go and check things out for yourself. Now, before we get even going on this subject, you know, I just want to put it out there that I'm just looking into this, okay? You know, this information obviously is coming from Sakurai Sitchin. Is coming from Billy Carson. They're heavily into the Anunnaki thing. That is where we get the Igigis from, Okay, so it looks like the Igigi story is quite similar to the fallen angel in the Bible. And I do have the Wikipedia things here as receipts, I guess, somewhere where you guys can go to check it out yourself. And then I would go further than that, though, start researching yourself. We don't know for sure that the Anunnaki, Sakura Sitchin, there's a lot of haters and there's a lot of lovers of his work. You know what I mean? I'm looking into it, but I'm not sure either. Like, I'm not 100% sure of any of this stuff. Like, those tablets that we found, no doubt that we found the tablets, but who knows if that's maybe the ultimate psyop right there. However long time ago, maybe somebody wrote those for us to find at this time, being the biggest freaking proof of the biggest psyop maybe ever made. You know what I mean? So we don't know. We still got to keep searching, researching, using our discernments, our intuition, right? And just keep looking. And so I highly recommend for the rest of you as well to do the same. Okay. So I'm not saying for sure that this is what it is. However, it is kind of looking that way. Once you start diving into the Anunnaki story, you can see where they got all the stuff for the religious texts. And because most of them are quite similar. So whether you're into the Quran or the Torah or whatever, once you start digging in there, you'll see that the story is quite similar. A lot of the same stuff. And then when you read the tablets, of course, and into the Anunnaki, you can kind of see where they got it from. So I thought it would be worth looking into, you know what I mean? And because if it is, in fact, so if we are taking the Sakurai Sitchin theories, because that's all it is at this point, really, it has been translated. And that's the part that I'm having a little bit difficulty with. Like, we just don't know how accurate the translation is and how accurate is being understood. And then, you know what I mean? And then rewritten again, like, you know what I mean? It's like the Bible, we know for sure it's been translated and rewritten so many times that it's just, it's not even near of the same story as it was in the beginning. So that we know. This one here, it's a little bit new. We don't know, you know what I mean? So we're looking into it. So if you have any cool comments about this, any of this, leave it down in the comment section. I'd love to hear back from you guys. Okay. Also leave some links, you know what I mean, to things that we can go and check out, look into, you know what I mean? If you think you have something good that's worth sharing. Okay. So use the comment section. That's what it's for. Okay. And yeah. So see, we got a couple more people in here. So if you don't mind hitting that like button right now, no matter where you're watching this, we are going live, of course, on YouTube, on the Twitter, and on Patreon. So I am on Patreon. It's a great place to go and join up for free. Okay, you'll guarantee to get my Sunday shows there. So even if they're unlisted on the YouTube, they'll still be up on the Patreon for you to watch at any time. Okay, I do post different things there. And so you can sign up there for free. Okay. But if you would like to support the channel and get a little extra, because, I do the divination up on there, the hump day, and that's where you can come back and get some extra card pulls. And so we do a secret stream every week. Okay. So join us up there if you're interested in that. But yeah, and you can also get private consultations and or divination. Okay, the time is yours, whatever you want to use it for, but you can get that as well up on Patreon. So go and check that out. So of course I went oh, what is he talking about, his payment or something? Okay, all right, yeah, I haven't checked it, Daniel, so I don't know how your payment status is, and that's the beauty about Patreon, is that Patreon does all that for me. So you know what I mean, I don't have to worry about that. So I see Andrew Phillips here as well. Welcome. It was nice to see you last night on the Milky Way show there. I'm sure Robert was happy to have you on there. You got to bring on some extra stuff that he didn't have, and so that's what it's all about, is sharing, and yeah, so that was awesome to see you there, Andrew. And yeah, what was I going to say something there, and I lost my train of thought because I look at the chat and then it's gone. So yeah, I think we're just going to get into it. I'm sure most of you have heard of the fallen angels. right? I'm sure you have. But if you haven't, let's go over a little bit. Let's see here. I'm gonna show the Wikipedia. Oh, it looks like somebody is joining us here. Hang on here. Hello there.
Hey, on no
Hey,
camera. Oh, you got to be kidding me! Not
you gotta be
again.
kidding me. You know, it is so weird. And I can't use the links. I can't put links or comment in my studio. I don't know what's going on, but there's a lot of glitches as far as the electronics are going. So Robert's using the
Oh, I
greens.
know. My internet. My
Yeah, I'm
internet
just,
went out and it came back in Spanish, and then I couldn't reset it because I don't know the words in Spanish.
oh no.
Yeah, I
Ah,
finally figured it out. I had to shut the thing off and take the battery out and all kinds of stuff. But
yeah,
yeah,
I don't know. I'm wondering if it's the solar flares that's doing this because it seems to be all over the place. You know, it's just technical
yeah,
difficulties everywhere. So, but hey, at least we can hear you. And I know last time we did this, you were able to share. That seemed to work.
yeah.
So,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, yeah, I don't know. I
Unreal,
tell you, I
unreal.
have no idea.
I don't know why. This is the funniest thing I've ever seen before. I tell you,
Oh,
I
there's
can
emoji.
change these things, and I can say I'm using a green screen. There you go. And maybe if I, nope, it's nope, and no. It just does not want to use the camera. Oh well, just keep going. I'll keep doing whatever.
Well, yeah, keep plugging on. At least we can hear you there. So, yeah, I was just going to show, we're going to go over the Wikipedia here.
Yeah.
Those you haven't here, I'm sure most people, you know, grew up in some kind of, you know, religion and, or at least heard about it somewhere, I'm sure. Some of you might even, you know, claim to know these beings, you know what I mean? So this might kind of trigger a lot of people. The occultists might think that, oh, how dare you talk about them this way or whatever. And then the other people might, you know what I mean? So I'm sure we're going to trigger a lot of different people here. But like I said, you know, do your own research here. I'm not saying for sure that this is how it is. I'm just saying that these stories are very, very similar. So we're going to look into it and then you can make up your own mind. You know what I mean? So the fallen
Yeah.
angels are, you know, from the Bible, and I'm sure you've heard of it. See, I don't want to read all of this. I'm almost tempted to just kind of, you know, talk it the way from memory myself, because you guys can go into the description and read this stuff yourself if that's sure what's going on. But let me hide that for a second. There we go.
Hmm.
Apparently they ascended, you know, so that's why they call it fallen, I guess, because they came from somewhere. Now, you know, I guess according to the Bible, it sounds like they just dropped down like from the sky, just like that, landed on Mount Hermon, which is the 33-degree parallel. And I think that's where a lot of this 33 comes from, because the fallen angels apparently landed on Mount Hermon, which is on the 33-degree whatever, yeah, whatever that thing is called. So that's where that comes from. A lot of it. It's not just Jesus' age and all that. It comes from that. I do believe that's kind of sort of the beginning. And so, according to the Bible, these were angels that had rebelled against God, and apparently Lucifer took a third of the angels and came here. They got kicked out of heaven and they came here. We can kind
Well,
of hear. We can kind of hear you there, Robert.
can you hear me though?
I can hear you. I can hear you clicking away on stuff.
Oh yeah. I'm trying
Yeah.
to get things working, but it doesn't seem like none of that's going.
It's all black now. Yeah.
How about
I
this?
don't know. You're almost better off at that vacation scene. So then at least it looks like you're on vacation or something. But
Yeah. What happened?
so
Keep
anyways, yeah,
walking
fallen
away.
angel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they landed. You know, I was. but see, I think a lot of that it goes with the fallen angels, and it goes with Enki and Enlil, and a little bit of with the Igigi stuff that I studied. Which ain't there? There's not that much of the Igigi stuff. That's the bad part. We
Yeah,
think
no, there's not a whole lot about the fallen angels either. From my understanding in the Bible, they mention 200 of them.
Yeah.
And not very many names, honestly. Like, I don't know 200 names myself. I know a few of them. Like, the leader is Shimiaza, and then you got Azazil's in there, and there's a few of them, right, that we were kind of familiar with.
Yeah.
But there's not a whole lot about them. 200 doesn't sound like a lot. Once we get into the Igigi, I do believe there were 600 of them, either 6 or 3. I can't remember now.
See, and the thing is that there was these the fallen angels, and if you really look into it, it looks like they're military. If you look at it as military, then it all starts making sense. And then they must have had ranks below them, but they didn't really count those people. Just like the Igigi came, and they were basically they were kind of like slaves or workers too, And
so before we get into it, why don't I tell them the story? As I'm going to tell you the story from my memory, okay, rather than going through the Wikipedia there, because you guys can find that down below if you want to look at the Wikipedia. It's very, very brief about their story, but it's because I've been studying Billy Carson as of late now, just making sure everything's going good. And from what I understand, the Igigis were, I guess, the working class. Okay, so just like how we have it here, we got the elites, and then of course we got the workers, which is most of us, you know what I mean? So Enki and Enlil were the elite, the top, kind of, and the Igigi were the workers. They were the ones that they brought with them to do all the manual labor. And from what I understand, they were actually up on Mars. So now we start getting into stuff that, contradicts some other stuff that we've been looking into. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. Like, we got to really, do some more research here, right? I'm not set on all this, okay? But apparently they're up on Mars, and I've seen Billy Carson's, he's showing some photos, like from today, from Mars, and it's a planet just like ours. It's got lots of water, lots of vegetation. It's a beautiful planet, apparently. And so it's kind of noisy, Robert. If you can mute yourself while you're doing that, because all we're hearing is all this loud clicking and stuff. If you could mute yourself while you're doing whatever you're doing there. Now I'm not sure if you can hear me.
I did.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, because all we hear is just a loud noise. Where was I at now?
They were on Mars.
Oh, they're on Mars. Okay, yeah. So I've seen pictures, and apparently NASA is giving us, the wrong images and all of this, and that doesn't surprise me. At this point now, with the lies and everything that we're uncovering, why they want us to think that it's a red, desolate, deserty kind of place, I don't know. Because there's a lot of talk about Mars. Why would Elon Musk want to go up there if that's the case? Why did Laura Eisenhower get approached to go there? There's a lot of talk about Mars. And so why would you want to go there if it was not a nice place, So anyways, apparently that's where the Igigi were working up there. They were mining for all the resources, just like they were doing here. So I don't know if that was after they've been here or before they were here or whatever, however that whole thing goes. But they were up there working. And the worst part for them were that there was no women there. So they brought all these workers, but they didn't bring wives for them, So they were quite lonely. I guess it was like a big sausage fest up at Mars, for a while there. And so they got tired of it. And they're like, screw this. F this, we're done with all this hard manual labor. And so they went right outside Enlil, who is the chief, for them, Enlil's place, and they took all their tools and they set them on fire. So a big, huge bonfire with all their tools, and they're out there, screaming that, hey, we're done with this. We're not doing this anymore. We've been doing this, I think this 2,500 years or something like that. They had been up there doing this, and no women, which was the worst part of it, I guess. And they were done. So they just got to thinking, I guess, and I'm like, okay, well, what can we do here? Maybe we can, make this other being here to do the work for them. And that's the beginning of our history, essentially, how we came about. And so that's what they did. They took the existing hominoids, whatever you want to call them, and then genetically spliced it with their own DNA. And that's where we're from. So we're essentially hybrid from whatever original creature that was here, so that, and then who knows how they came about. So, you can still, even if you were a scientific kind of person that was into the Big Bang and all of this, you could still go with that, with this story, you know what I mean? Because something created all of whatever before that, but that's not what this video is all about. We can debate that at some other time, but there was existing a planet with the animals and species that was here already, quite similar to us, I guess, somehow. And I think we have 98% chimpanzee DNA or something like that. So quite similar, right, to that kind of thing. So that's how we came about. And then, of course, so once that happened, though, they got told, there you are, I can see you there now. They were told by Enlil that, okay, then you get to come here and take care of them. So we're going to watch over them, right? And teach them, essentially. How are they going to be doing the work for you unless you go and teach them everything you know? Probably not everything they know, but teach us how to whatever, right? And so that's how the whole fallen angel story was as well. They came down here, and they were told to watch over us. That was their punishment as far as the Bible was concerned. So it's very, very similar, essentially being punished to be our caregivers, teach us everything so that we know how to do it, right? And same kind of story. And so to me, this is definitely where they got it from. So how you doing there, Robert? I know I saw you there for a second, and now you're not there.
I had it, and then I lost it.
Yeah, what did you do?
Thing. I have no idea. I was like, woohoo, I made it. And I changed the resolution, and it went great.
Yeah,
and
do
then
the resolution thing, because you got to zoom it in. It's very there. Oh, see, that's what it is. It's not recognizing you as far as the ratio button thingy.
Yeah. I know, but it's not wanting to connect. But I'm working. I had it almost. I don't know what I did, but it kind of went away. There we go.
There we are. Don't touch anything now.
Some of these cords back.
Now you're not moving, though. It looks like you're frozen there. I don't see you moving.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, come on. It was on there for a minute.
Okay, we got a question.
I'm here. It can't be that hard.
I got a question here. Quick question. Had they been with women before they became enslaved by Enlil? So I guess when they were on Nibiru, because that's where they come from, of course, they had women there. I don't know if they were actually married and had families. Probably not. I would think that they probably brought the young, unmarried workers with them. Somebody said 300 here. So it was either 600 or 300. I can't remember. But that kind of goes with the whole Bible story, because they mentioned like 200. So they brought the young, unmarried, whatever, over to do the work. And when you go back to Tartaria and the old civilization, the architecture and everything, that must have been the Igigis that built these things. The pyramids, right? The Igigi or the fallen angels, whatever you want to call them, right? They knew how to do this. They obviously didn't pass that knowledge down to us. So that when I said they didn't teach them everything they know, because they purposely didn't teach them that, because we haven't been able to replicate that ever, But Yeah,
So
mine
so
gold. I guess we're good at that. You know.
what did you figure out with the stories, how they compared with the fallen angels and the Igigi story?
Well, I found it was very similar. I mean, you can
Yeah.
see where they got that from. Actually, a lot of
So
the once you start going through the whole Anunnaki story, you're like, oh yeah, that's in the Bible. This is in the Bible. That's from the Bible. Well, that's where they got that from. You know, you can very
mhm.
see where they got all that stuff from. You know.
so they brought their base. The Anunnaki came from, they were on Mars, and they came here from Mars. And the Gigi were it's kind of a cloudy story. The Gigi
Okay,
were on Mars
okay,
or
let's
from
clarify this.
Mars.
So the Anunnaki, okay, and Anunnaki just means from heaven they came. It's not
Yes.
an actual being.
Yeah.
Anunnaki can mean many different races, and this is
Yes.
why it explains why we have so many different races here on this earth. Is because a lot of them, you know, a few, 5 or 6 of them, or whatever. I don't how many races is there in the world. I'm not even sure, but however many it
Lot.
is, they all made
Mm-hmm.
one creation here, right? So yeah, so there's all different kinds, and I do believe there's also a blue creature as well, a being I should say, because it looks just
Yeah.
like us, but they're blue, and that explains the whole Hindu with the Kali and all this blue, right? You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? And also you want to go back to the whole interview with the rabbi. Remember that the lady with the blue makeup on trying to look blue, you know? So there, I do believe there is blue beings, but not the whole avian thing that's what's her face, what, you know, we're doing there, not that. Okay, that was
Yeah.
make believe, but I do believe there is, yeah. And I do believe Billy Carson's got a new movie coming out, and there's in his thumbnail you'll see this blue being in there, so they're going to be telling you more about that in there, I guess. But yeah, so yeah, so they came from Nibiru, so this is where the Nibiru, planet X, so
Yeah.
there's where your X comes again, right? You know, and so, you know, there's been this whole movement here for quite a while about, you know, Nibiru coming back, because they do say in there that they're going to come back, just like Jesus said, you know, and that's where you get that whole thing from. Like, that's where the Bible gets that whole thing from. You know what I mean? And so,
Yeah.
but there's also a bit of a disturbing thing in there is that is it 12,000? I can't remember, 26,000, whatever it is, years.
2,600.
When Nibiru gets a certain distance from Earth, that's when we have the cataclysmic things happening. And so if we're getting kind of close to that now, that could be another, you know, where another possibility of why something is about to happen here. And
Yeah.
they're blaming on climate change right now. We know they're heavily on this climate change. I do believe that that's just a cover up for something that they know is going to be happening, because it does. It always does. It goes in cycles, right? So to me, it seems like we're approaching another one of those cycles. Now, is it Nibiru, you know, or is it the pole shift? We were talking about that the other day. I got some information about that. That might be kind of cool, but it sounds like maybe you guys had already done some shows on that. So I don't know if we
So
want to revisit all of that again, but yeah.
so the what I found out about these, you know, what happened is the Igigi were, you know, they were obviously they were a god type being too. I don't understand the whole thing because they really didn't say, but apparently they were an enslaved race, and like you said, they were brought here from another planet because they weren't originally this planet. But each one of these Igigi were skilled in something, you know, in different things, because they were building canals and bridges, and they were showing others, you know, like metalworking and woodworking, and
Yeah.
so that stuff all matches up with the fallen angels. They were, but what happened is there was an uprising. We've all heard about, oh yeah, the Gigi uprose. They worked here for, you know, 250,000 years or something, and I don't know, maybe it was 25,000 years or something. I'm not sure. I'm clear on the date, but after so long, you know, being in this enslaved race, basically, They said, we've had enough. They started to uprise. Now, I can't remember the guy's name. I was trying to take notes and work and drive, but I couldn't do it all at the same time. And of
Yeah.
course, these names are really unfamiliar, so I didn't even know how to spell it. But what happened is that the certain guy, he was kind of like the upriser, the leader of the pack. And Enlil and Enki, they were trying to make, a better worker because they knew that this uprising was coming. Now, in the end, they decided, as we all know, if you followed the story before, they had to kill this one of the Igigi, and they put his essence into the man, the Adam. And what I found out is that the guy that was killed, he was a metal worker, a metalsmith or metal worker. So he was a skilled craftsman. And I'm thinking, but because he was the leader, they hated to get rid of him, but they had to, come up with a new worker. So they killed him and took his essence and put it into the Adam, and that made it work. And all I'm thinking is, well, if these beings, what is it literally that he put in him? Did he put his that he had to see? There's key words in there. He had to kill him in order to put the essence in the Adam. So what? It couldn't have been DNA, and it couldn't have been. What would that essence be?
I'm thinking blood. They would have drained his blood and fused it right into, because that would kill the guy, and that would give all your life essence into that other being. What else would it be?
Okay, so remember that before the first Adam that was made, they made many others before that, and each one didn't function right. Remember, they were running in the walls, they were peeing on themselves. They did a bunch of things kind of like a robot, would do. And I think, and this is kind of the realm of imagination, because we don't have that technology. So what I'm going to say is they had some way to catch the soul or the spirit of this being, and in order for that spirit to leave, they had to kill that being to catch that essence, because they use the word essence. And
you know what? If we're gonna go there, that actually kind of goes. And it's kind of funny because Daniel's in the chat here. That kind of goes with uploading the consciousness. And this is something that's been coming to our attention as of late. And I had this dream download type of thing a few years ago, what I've been talking about, that it came to me that the only way to for humanity to survive was to upload their consciousness. Now, could it be that this Igigi, his body died, but they actually uploaded his consciousness, took his soul, and put it into this other being? And then so that guy's not dead. He's just in this thing now. They just
see, and with that though, he became one of the Dom became one of the smartest and wisest men, on the planet. They said, and everybody came from all over the place because he was.
That would explain it, because he's not just a dam now. He's his man with the consciousness of the Igigi. I mean, you know what I mean? So I can see now, okay, if that's the case, okay, we're not saying that is it allegedly, okay, whatever you want to call it. If that's the case, no wonder they were like looking at him like, hey, a little bit jealous, you know what I mean? Like, because he's better than the rest of them now, like he's got the best of both worlds there, then, doesn't he?
Steve says, I'm completely lost on all this. Well, the idea is the Igigi were workers and they rebelled. And when we can look at that in today's eyes, when you get people who are rebelling against their work and they're outside protesting, what do they get? They go ahead and they get scabs, and the scabs come in and they work and keep the factory going while the other guys are out protesting, right? And eventually, if you protest too long, you're fired. They don't want you. You're done. We got guys here running the machines. Hey, we don't need you anymore.
Unless they all were in agreement that no scabs, because that's what we do here. If you get caught scabbing, it's a one-way ticket out of here. You know what I mean? Like that, that's just a no-no in the union thing. So there was only 300 of them there. So if they all agreed, screw this, they all put their tools in the pile, lit it on fire, there's no scabs. There's nobody, that's the kind of, control they would have had in order for him to say, okay, fine, we're going to make some other beings. And to be honest, a little caveat on that, that's kind of where we are as a humanity right now. We're all at that where we don't want to have to do the work. Like after the COVID thing, a lot of people got a taste of not having to go to work. And a lot of people are like, you know what? I don't want to have to go to work anymore. I don't want to have to drive 2 hours each way. I'm tired of this. And looking at robots, why don't we get the robots to do this shitty work for us instead? So we're kind of at that point right now in humanity as where this was all happening. Like I've got the same feeling here. Now, I don't know how well this is going to pan out for us, of course, because what's going to happen is that we're going to outdo our usefulness, and they're going to want to get rid of us then if the machines are doing it, right? So
yes, because you're so right. Because what happens? Okay, so we're the Igigi right now, and of today. Put it that way. You always learn to history through the past, and the past becomes the history, and so. We're inventing, robots to do this work, and it's great, but because just like you said, we got used to staying home and relaxing and enjoying life. And, why do I want to go back to work work like a slave? And, we got robots. Well, the robot eventually is going to become the new Adam. And we're going to look at him and say, oh, wow, he can wash the dishes. He can cook and clean. He can do my job at work. And now he has a brain that's way more powerful than mine because he never forgets. He's connected to the World Wide Web. He's 10 times smarter than me, and he can work all day and all night. Now, my employer looks at me and says, I don't need you anymore.
He doesn't need to go to the bathroom. He doesn't need sick pay. He's never going to get married. He got pregnant. You know what I mean? All these things that... Yeah, I know. We're kind of doing it to ourselves here, actually. Right now, and I think that's probably why they want to depopulate. They don't need us. What do they call it? Useless eaters is what we are. That's what they call us. So
we're needed to be used, and and once we're done being used, they don't need us anymore.
That's right.
And people are figuring that out. But that's the thing. Once they put those robots in, you think they're going to say, that robot thing, it costs so much money to put in. We're just going to go back to people because, I want to deal with people who can't show up to work and who are lazy and have to, take more pay. I got robots that do it all day long, every day.
So anyways, that's kind of, in the future here. But so this is kind of, and it sounds just like the fallen angel story. So Steve, he says he's all lost. So you kind of have to study Sakurai Sitchin and the Anunnaki story in order to know anything about the Igigi. That's where we're getting the whole thing. And when you compare that story with the Bible story with the fallen angels, it sounds very similar. As a matter of fact, it sounds very the same to me. And you can totally see where they got this from. So you got to remember that the Council of Nicaea, there was a whole bunch of them there that sat down to decide which stories were going to be in this book, which were not. And we know that there used to be 88 books. They only used 66. There's a whole bunch of books that were never used, like the book of Enoch and whatnot. And because in the Enoch book, there's a lot more about this kind of stuff that they don't want us to know about, So we've kind of come to a place now where knowledge is getting out there, so I don't think they were kind of planning on that. I don't think, or maybe they were, because why did they give us the internet then if they didn't want us to educate ourselves? So unless they thought that we were that dumb that we wouldn't use it, but I don't know.
I mean, it's it's one of those things. Yeah, they give us these things little by little to make our jobs better. But I think at some point they're looking at it saying, hey, we will figure, we're only needed to be used and get this technology for them so that they can better, run us. And when they don't need us, they'll get rid of us.
Yeah. Yeah, we're expendable, So this is why that the elites and the royals and whatever you want to call them, look down upon us, and treat us that way, because this is how the Anunnaki looked at us and treated us. You know what I mean? Like we were just something that they made up in the laboratory there, and whatever, and
absolutely. Let's see. I got some stuff we can share. And there we go. We all know, we've all seen some of this stuff. Now, I'm not saying that this is the Anunnaki stuff, but it is Egyptian, and it does show you about the light bulbs. We've all seen this, how it was set up. But you notice the size of the people.
Mm-hmm.
You got little people, and you got, these are the workers. But once you start getting into some of these things, we can see, why are these people so small? And you got a giant guy here. Yeah. Are these little kids, or is this one of the Igigi workers? And he says, "Here, you are the little people now. Do what I say. Now I'm the boss, and I got 1,000 guys working for me, and I can do. Yeah. Oh, maybe I'm better. I can make. We can." You know what I mean? I'm a Igigi, and I'm going to get slaves. Now I got slaves for me, and I don't care about these people, because the atom. What happens is, and I think I can understand this. You notice our intelligence doesn't ever seem to go up. We kind of stay at the same IQ for a long time. If nothing else, it goes down. It seems like
it's been going down lately. Yeah, the last couple of generations, there's really been going downhill.
Well, if they use that essence, right, and you break that down so many times, at some point or time, you broke it down so many times that it's almost irreparable. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You are
well, you got to remember that we got 12 strands of DNA in us. Only 2 of them are fused together. Can you imagine if we had all 12 of them fused together? Like, what a credible being we would be. You know what I mean? So we're like total retards as far as what we could be. We're only using a very small fraction of what we, are capable of. And so, you can understand that obviously, as we were a newly created being, we obviously looked at the Igigi as being gods, and that's why we're still looking at them as gods, because they're a lot taller and smarter and all of this. And as far as we're concerned, they created us, so they must be God. This is the understanding that we have. We haven't gotten any further than that, So
and we don't have that much of the story. We only have what the Sumerians left behind. Yeah, and you can see it through these books or these stone carvings. You got small people here, and you got, it looks like this is a horse, but these people are huge. Is this the Enki and Enlil, or these the Anunnaki, or these the Igigi, or we don't really know.
The Igigis are Anunnaki. They were just working class. That's all. There was no other difference, I don't think, between Enki and the Igigi. Okay. They were the same size. They were just the work. It's just like between Trump and the butler. You know what I mean? They're still human. Yeah. They just have different titles, and they get treated a little differently because of that, I guess. But that's it. Like the Igigi are Anunnaki. Okay. As far as I'm concerned, that's how I see it. I don't know if you got other opinions. Leave some comments down below. I would love to hear.
I do think they were. I think they were kind of different. They were very similar, but they may have been slightly different. Maybe, you could say a working class. Maybe the Anunnaki guys were, the like Enlil and Enki and them. They were from a ruling class. I do just like we here are probably that we look like them, but we're not them. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Now, I just want to point out for some who aren't aware. Now, you see this being that looks like a bird's head. They're not bird people, okay? It's a helmet that they're wearing. That's what that is. And that's some people have understand that as well. Now, I mean, they do have wings, so who knows? Maybe they are able to fly around with that. I don't know. But from what I understood in the text, the bird helmet was a helmet that they use. It's just, I don't know.
There is something in this picture that I've noticed, though.
Okay.
You notice the bird beings are carrying the bags.
Right.
And they also have wings. They also have this pine cone thing here. You notice they got some kind of thing. I can't really blow it up to see. It just gets blurry. But so these bird beings, you can see they got feet and legs and arms and stuff. Like you said, this could be a helmet of some sort. But they have this bag. Now these guys don't have a bag.
So they're definitely the assistant. It looks like they're assisting these guys, right? So handing them the tools, handing them the things. They literally have their backs from the looks of it. Yeah, I got somebody in here that says the Igigi are not the Anunnaki. Now, keep in mind, Anunnaki just means from heaven they came. It's not an actual race of anything. So Anunnaki could be anybody, or we're all Anunnaki. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, you know what I mean? So, Lucky's saying that the internet is being weird too. Yeah, it's all over the place. I think these solar storms are really, we can actually feel it and see it here. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
So what do we got here?
And see
that thing. What is that tree thingy that they got there that they're... Oh, did you froze up?
See the same picture, the guy's head.
Can you
so
repeat that?
Are they using that pine cone to give him knowledge? I'm saying, look, so here's a blown up picture of that thing.
You were frozen there for a bit, so we missed whatever you said.
Okay. I'm saying that this is a blown up picture of this. He's got a pine. See, this is a pine cone, and he's putting it to the back of his head.
I don't see it as a pine cone.
Yeah.
How do you get pine cone out of
that? Well, because it's a looks like that that pine cone thing they're always handling, because he's also the same guy.
I mean, that would make sense, but that to me, I don't see a pine cone there. I see
what is this thing then?
It could be a spearhead shape of something, but I don't know if it's a pine cone.
I don't know what else to call it. It looks like that pine cone shape.
Well, whatever it is, or is it a light bulb that they were because the other picture.
This guy here's got one. This one's got one too. See, and he's pointing it to his head, and this one's got it right on his head. And then they're doing some kind of work, on this tree of life, I guess they call it. And because if we go back to this one, see, it's the same kind of picture. And see, he's using the pine cone, another pine cone here, and these guys got the bags. These guys don't, and it's the same here. These guys, have no bags, and they're carrying the bags back here. Whereas later on, you see here's the one with the pine cone. Now this guy's got a pine cone thing. I can't make it any bigger than that. See the pine cone right here? How it's got the dimples on it? Just kind of, I don't know what else to call it, but you can see it's got
the Vatican has the pine cone all over the place. So
exactly, both got carrying bags, and they got tool belts. You can see a belt with some tools in it of some sort, here and here, and they got the little watches on, and that distinguishes them. But these guys got wings. But is that? Do you consider that a worker, or is this the Igigi, or is this the Anunnaki guys? And that's what confuses, because so long ago we can't tell. These look so similar, and then these guys got wings on.
Yeah, I know. I got somebody here mentioning Igigis are the slaves. Yeah, so we talked about that earlier. I do believe that Igigis were the working class, is what it says. Okay, they're the same type of beings as Enki and Enlil. Like they're all Anunnaki, but like I said, we don't know exactly where they're from, essentially, other than the whole Nibiru thing. But again, we don't really know where that even comes from. We don't know, and we know that Anunnaki is multiple races. That's why we have many races here, because they didn't just make one race; they made several of us, from the different beings. So we don't know if the Igigi is exactly like them, I guess, but they are the working class, the beings that knew how to make things. So if you go back to the fallen angels story, Azazel was the one who taught us how to use metal. So it taught
Yeah,
us how to essentially make weapons and jewelry and all of that kind of stuff, and
yeah, metalwork.
and so each one of them had their own specialty. So when you go, I don't know about the Igigi, but the fallen angels, some of them knew astrology. They taught us that. They knew, so it wasn't just chisel and hammer stuff either. It was knowledge,
Yeah,
so that we could live on this planet and, be able to do things, and astrology and all that stuff is part of it. I mean, they
yes.
used to rely on that stuff. The pagans relied on astrology and the seasons and upholding all of that stuff.
Oh, absolutely. And you can
So
see by like this picture. I wish I knew the languages and stuff, but you can see that this guy is, he drew everything kind of appropriately. You can see these guys are all the same height,
yeah,
the little, so well, actually, they're not all the same height. See, this guy's shorter, a little
yeah,
taller, different
yeah.
hats. They really put a lot of detail in it. So my question would be is, if they put so much detail in how the size these guys are, why would they
Mhm.
make this guy so much bigger that they, couldn't tell the difference? I mean, he's just huge. And then
Well,
he's
I guess he
sitting on it.
was. I'm assuming that he was that much bigger. This is where we
Yeah.
get the giants from, right? So
Yes. Yes.
going back to the Igigi story, so they came here, and then of course, we started multiplying, and then they got the women. So that's where
Yes.
so obviously they must have been the same size as us. Longest, I don't know. That's the thing. We don't know if the Gigi were exactly like the Anunnaki or not. Maybe they were a smaller race. But if they were marrying us, obviously they were the same size, or it wouldn't have worked, right? Now, their offspring, however, ended up being giants, okay, who weren't able to multiply. And so once you start going into reproduction, therapy, gene therapy, like for instance, if you take a tiger and a lion, you can mate them and get a liger, but the liger cannot reproduce. That's how the gene reproduction thing works. Okay, and it's sort of the same thing with that. The giants weren't able to reproduce, and then of course they started eating everything, and including us, and they had to get rid of it because that shouldn't happen. And this is why we're not supposed to be breeding, amongst different species and whatnot, and why if there is any ET, stay away from here, because we're not supposed to be doing that for that reason there. Okay, so and then of course, if you go into the Christian theories, there believes that the souls of the giants, when they died, aren't able to enter heaven because they're not pure. They're a mixed thing that wasn't supposed to be, and so they can't go to the other side. They're stuck here, and I'm getting spirits nudging me. Those are what we call demons. Their souls are stuck here. They can't go to the other side, and these are what they call demonic beings. So whether or not that's true, I don't know.
Well,
But
see, at least that's what they portray it as. See,
that's what the Christians
the
are
church is,
portraying it. We don't know.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that's the thing is, it's right away they label it as a demon because, well, it's not of their god, so well then it's the only other thing there is. It's got to, if it ain't good, then it's bad. It's one or the other.
yeah, just thinking of it from your own sympathy, I guess, like if that was you, if you were, you didn't ask to be here, they bred and here they are, right? And now
Yep.
they're on, in limbo as such. They can't go to where there's everyone else is going. I would think there would be a little anger issues going on there. And so I could see, and then if they're able to interact with humans and mess up things for us, yeah, I could see them playing around and doing things, and because what else did they got to do?
Yeah.
Well,
Well, exactly.
I don't know. Like I wouldn't be happy if that was me, if that happened to me, So I can see how So
Yeah.
so what's going on here?
Well, yeah, no, and see that's another thing. It's were these the warriors? Were these the Anunnaki? Who is this guy? That's
Yeah,
what I want to know.
what is going on here? Is it like some kind of group sex going on, or what's happening
Well,
here?
it's like they're at war. So he's got a tomahawk or bullshit. This guy's got a knife and a dagger. They're both holding his head. And is this the depiction of the this is the Anunnaki and this is the Igigi? Would this have been an Igigi? Look at he's big like them. He does look kind of similar, but he's not clothed and dressed like they are either. You see what I'm saying? Could this have been an Igigi? And this is the depiction where they have to kill him to, take his soul out.
I think that's that story. Yeah, it kind of, that strangely does resonate with me. If they did take his soul and placed it into, no wonder that they had the, what do you want to call it? Anger towards us, jealousy towards us. I don't know, but because that would make it a very powerful being now, wouldn't it? If it had all that knowledge from, as an Anunnaki, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because as you can see from this picture, this is about the only one I ever seen. But see, you can see by the, his headdress and his beard is not like the other. His eyes, look at his eyes are more slanted and squinty, and his body, like I said, he doesn't have the clothes like the other ones have, and he's on bended knee, like hey, and they're like, hey, we're gonna kill you.
Yeah, I does look that way. He almost looks kind of tribal to me. It's almost like an African or native tribal headgear.
Which could have been if you would have seen a slave worker or an Igigi, well, maybe he would have looked like that. He would have been.
And, well, like I said, Anunnaki is a lot of different races. So maybe this happens to be an Anunnaki who is native or African looking. Maybe they had all that, all this headgear and all this kind of stuff, and that's where they got it from.
Well,
Well,
and that definitely could be, like I said, this the depiction of Enki and Enlil, and they're killing the Gigi guy to take his essence, and you can see, but you can see the planets. I think this represents planets 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then the sun. Here's the sun. He's got an axe. He's going to kill him. He's got a knife. He's going to kill him. He's putting his foot down, and this guy's got his foot on his leg. They're ready to do some battle here.
He's standing still while they're doing it. It does look like it's the final moments for this. With this being, for sure. Who knows?
And all these years we've never really discussed what an Igigi looks like, and if you've seen it pictured on a wall like this, you'd say, well, just like anything else, well, I must be another Sumerian, just a guy, but he does look different. He does. There's something different about him. It's but you wouldn't notice it. I mean, if they were standing there, he would look like a worker class, like you said. He's muscular. He's got muscles. They're showing it in his legs. Able to lift heavy objects, maybe. You know what I mean? Build them stone pyramids or something.
Right.
Obviously, he's as tall as they are. if he stood up, he would be as tall as them. So obviously he's a giant too.
Mm-hmm.
So
Andrew's got a good point here, or an interesting point. If that was the case, that maybe every person born after that
yeah,
gets less and less. Like
yeah,
and that kind of goes with the whole fractal thing, because that's my understanding of God too, that we're a fractal of God.
yeah,
And that would kind of go with
yeah.
that as well.
But
That's kind of
but
interesting.
that's what we said a little earlier is why is our intelligence? That's why there's probably
Yeah,
because we
maybe
know
that's
there's
why
some
we're
empty,
getting dumber and
there's a
dumber. Yeah,
there's
we're
empty
losing.
people, that just are placeholders because they didn't get enough of that fractal, so they're just going through life, existing, and they just got just enough to function, but not enough to do anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. So maybe that's why they got to reset, because we know as a humanity we have been reset many times.
Yeah,
Right? We know all these civilizations that have disappeared. Now, are those natural weather or natural things that are occurring, or are they deliberately resetting it all because we get to the point where we're just this dumb that we can't even be functional anymore? Or we get to the point where we kind of like the Igigi, we're like, you know what? We don't want to work anymore, because I've heard everywhere they can't find people to work at the dollar store or any of these minimum wage jobs. Nobody wants to do those jobs anymore, you know?
oh yeah, and
So,
well, see, here's the thing too is once you get spoiled, your
yeah,
generation after generation, they don't want to go back to hard labor,
no,
and
no,
everybody always said, I'm sure you told your kids too, I want you to have a better life than me. Meaning, I slaved away to take care of you, and I don't want you to slave away to take care of your kids and live, waller if you have to, and be poor and everything. I want you to go to college and blah 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 and have a good
no, I
house.
was never like that. No, my kids, no way. Both my kids are journeyman, trades. And there's no college. You're not going to, how many people are sitting there working minimum wage jobs with their college degree? It's like the most useless thing you can possibly do. Getting yourself a trade, and those are the people who are getting paid the big bucks now, because all the boomers are retiring, they're dying off, and nobody wanted to go into that job 20 years ago. Everybody's going into computers, going to college, and so we're losing good trades, and that's another thing. Like we're losing the Igigi education that we got there. Like we're losing the people. And so if you are a skilled tradesperson right now, those are the people who are going to make the money, because we don't have enough of them. Especially now with everybody
Yep.
getting so lazy as well, because it is hard
So,
work. But,
so
it's honest work, and so
which makes really good sense because, in a time of crisis, or if there's a tithing, like you said, there's a culling, and the strong people will float to the top. The cream rises to the top, as they say.
yeah,
And when that cream rises to the top, those journeymen, those people who know how to build or do things, they will also rise. And the ones with the most fractals in them will, be able to understand how to survive. And then once you have a small herd again, they will produce better, fractals, of that same thing. And obviously that happens because I know from raising chickens or dogs or horses or whatever I have, and I'm raising something, if I got a really stupid one, I get rid of that one. Every so often I get too many, and I get rid of all the bad ones, because the good ones are going to produce more good ones. They're not going to produce more bad. I ain't going to keep the worst in the herd and get rid of the good ones. I'm going to keep the best of the herd, the smartest ones, the most productive ones, and they're going to make more productive ones. And wouldn't
absolutely,
you?
that's nature's way. Yeah, that's nature's way. It's always that way. Even when an animal gives birth, and if one doesn't look right, she'll just abandon it. They're not going to
Yeah,
waste their time and energy on something that's not going to be fruitful. Or so that's just nature's way. That's the strong survive, and it's always been that way. And it's but now there's just so many non-strong people that it's getting like we don't have enough people that know what they're doing. Like, so I don't know. It's getting
That's
kind
true. Like I said, it would make sense to cull the herd before everybody's dumb and stupid, and
so
then
that's
you
what's
get
going on right now. Like we're all being,
yeah.
this is, the whole, So that's being done. So so now we
Yeah.
know why. Okay, so it's not a surprise, I guess. I guess nobody wants to be called, but it's there.
Yeah.
So we're too smart for our own good, to be honest. Like we shouldn't even know this right now, because who likes to know that they're going to be called soon? So
Well,
it's not a place to
nobody
be.
wants. Yeah,
You know?
nobody wants that.
No, I'd rather be
But
dumb and not know that that's what's happening. You know what I mean? Like, if that's going to happen, then don't tell us about it, kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like, it just
well, and they don't tell you. They
well,
just
they
say
do.
step up to the
No,
plate. It's
they
good
do.
for you.
It's if you have eyes to see and ears to hear, you can hear and see what's going on.
Yeah, but that
Just
but that
look at the
separates
Eagle
that
report,
one that's smarter.
just look at the
Separate.
Eagle report. They're not going to put that kind of stuff out there if that's not what they're planning on doing. And so the
Yeah.
Build-A-Bird just finished up now. So follow Dan Dix, Press for Truth. He was down there. I didn't check out the last video here, but just knowing who's there, what the agendas are, because it's there for you to see if you research it, and what they're going to be talking about. And that's how you'll know what's coming up in the next couple of years. And this is how we can foretell what they're planning on. Who's going to be the next prime minister? They all go to those meetings a couple, 3, 4 years prior to becoming. Okay, so this is how you can kind of pay attention to stuff like that. So it is there if you have eyes to see, if you bother to go and check it out, to research. It is there. Okay, it's just that most people don't bother.
And that's the part that culls the herd, because the people who are smart enough to look it up and know the knowledge, they will know what's coming and how to avoid it. Whereas the ones who don't, they will just walk right into it. You see,
I don't know.
that's happening.
I knew to avoid taking the thing. But other than that, there's nowhere to go. The elite knows. That's why they're spending billions and billions of dollars on bunkers, right? They're going underground or they're going off planet, one or the other. Nobody's
because
what's coming to the surface of this planet here. Unless you have ways of going underground. Caves.
And
caves,
that's unless you have that, you're lost. And that's the thing. But there's always some that survive. That's the point. There's always some that, because the little bit of knowledge that you had, you survived, versus, if you didn't have any knowledge at all, you're just going to sit in your house and do nothing. And you're going to be the first one gone. And of course, that works with anything. That's how lemmings do it. They all race for the ocean, and a lot of them make, or the salmon swimming up the stream. A lot of them make it. A lot of them don't. There's a lot more that don't make it than do make it. But it only takes a handful of them to make it to repopulate the whole population again.
Yeah, well, look at the flood story. So, that story again is in the Bible, but it's also in the Anunnaki story. Again, very similar, right? You can see where all these things are coming from. But apparently Enlil, was upset and he wanted to get rid of us all. It was Enki who felt sorry for us and went to Noah, and he said, because you're pure. Now, I just want to say too, because a lot of people take these things and they think, oh, he must be pure. Oh, he must be a really good person or whatever. No, it has nothing to do with whether he was a good person or not. What they mean about being pure is that he has the bloodline. He was the closest thing to Enki's bloodline. That's why he was chosen. It wasn't that Noah was any better than you and I. Matter of fact, one of the first things he did when Noah found land again, well, the first thing he did was go and sacrifice a big burnt sacrifice for him. The second thing he did was go and start building the vineyard, because he was a drunkard. He loved his wine. So no, so people misunderstand those words of pure, thinking that, that's not what they mean. It's just that it has to do with bloodlines. Bloodlines is very important. And that's why it's so important to the elite. And actually, going back to one of the comments here, maybe this is why it's so important to have that bloodline, because maybe you have more fractals. You have a little bit more of that so that you are a little more pure, or whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean?
And you're right, because even we can see it, that you notice the people that are in power, their children, and you can just trace it back. And an easy one to trace back real quickly is the Bushes. You know, you got George Bush, he was president, and his son was president, he was president, his dad was in, big time with everything. And you could just trace that line of Bushes back in a few generations, and it's like they were all powerful and all in the upper government, and so forth. And of course, they're related to all the other people that've been presidents too. How ironic is that?
Well, that's the thing. Like, there is no such thing as election. Okay, it all is a selection that is selected years prior to, and that's what I'm saying about the Bilderbergs, and they go to these meetings and stuff like that. It's all been selected ahead of time. That whole election thing, that's just a facade to make us feel better about things. Okay, so we think that we are, that we have choices. So we think that we are, but we're not. Okay, they're controlling everything. Always have been, and unless we stop it, always will be. So. This whole Trump thing that's all just a distraction, guys. Okay. I already did a video about Trump. Go and check that out on the Rumble. Okay. If you want to see what I think about Trump, go and check that out on the Rumble, or Odysee. It'll be up there too. And you're not going to find that on YouTube. So a lot of these shows that I don't think are YouTube friendly, they will get unlisted. So, yeah. Make sure you follow me on all the different platforms, okay, if you want to see all the content. So, yeah, what do you got here now?
And that's the thing, too, is, here you got a guy, picture ain't that great, but you can see that this looks like a sun. Maybe this is the moon. And what is this in between the sun and the moon? Is this, is this the Anunnaki ship? You see the wings on there? It looks like a bird with a center. And is this staff?
From. Yeah, this is where they in the Bible calls them angels, but they're not angels, okay? They're beings that have wings, okay, and they're able to travel around, I guess.
Or like beings is this a ship, in between? But see here again. Now here I'm going to point something out to you. Do you notice how he's got a staff? In a lot of these pictures, they're all carrying staffs. They all have a staff. Is this a communication device? Is this a weapon? Is this, I mean, why? Wasn't it Moses who had a staff, and then the Egyptian guys had a staff? Everybody has a staff.
Yeah. So a staff, especially if you have like a crystal on top of it, it's something to direct energy. Okay. So that's why.
Oh, what the heck is this on top? There's something round up here. Is this a?
Yeah, so there'll be a crystal on top of there, and so you can. That's why we use wands and staffs and stuff like that in magic, right? Because you're using it as an extension of you to direct energy. Never mind if he's old and he might need it for walking too. I mean, it could be a walking stick, but that's kind of. Yeah, and that's why we use the crystals and we use all these things. And are you able to zoom in on that thing in the middle there so we can see what that is exactly? It kind of looks like a cross or an angel or.
Yeah, I can't really more. This is about as best detail as I get, but I don't know what this is. But see, the thing is we mimic a lot of things. Now, I'm just going to say that okay, so say this is one of the Anunnaki. He's got his staff. His staff is, technology we don't understand yet, right? And sure, he may have a crystal up here, but this thing is filled with electronics or do jobs. He's got a coned hat, too. You notice he's got a coned hat. But then after these people leave.
That's why the witch's hat is, and that's why the steeples on the church and everything. Oh, and I saw something. Oh, I saw something good the other day with the lunch break video about remember those blimps that used to drive around in the 1800s? We had all kinds of, and they took that away. Well, turns out they were charged by like the end of the steeple. Have that pointy thing that they would go there, connect to it and get their energy from there. So I never
Nice.
knew that. Like I knew it was directing energy, but to what? Or exactly what? Is it just loose energy from the congregation going up so that they can suck it up? Or is it something more? Well, now I know. So they were actually charging their ships that way. So that's very interesting. You got to go and check that out. That channel,
Good,
it's
good,
got a lot of good things.
could be, yeah.
Yeah.
Check that out. But see, if you really look at this guy, you know what this is telling me? He's got his staff. He's got his pointed hat. He's got some kind of technology in it we don't understand. And he's communicating with this ship that's between the sun and the moon, or a planet. Somewhere in between, there's a ship, and he's communicating with it. Because, but we can only assume these things. But to me, I'm thinking, but what happens is we're a mimicking society. And some of the things that we're mimicking, let's put a pointy hat on, because
this is where it comes from. This is where it comes from, right? You always wondered where do we get this from, or how did we come up with this? Well, we didn't come up with anything. We saw it somewhere else, right? We saw
and we mimicked it.
And we're mimicking
it. We mimicked it. But the problem is our mimicking is just we make a staff and put a crystal on it. And we think, maybe it does shoot some power out. Maybe it does help you out. But this staff that this guy had something in it that your staff made of wood with a crystal on top just doesn't have. I can
guarantee you it's got copper in there. I can guarantee you it's got copper. It's got crystals, several different kinds of crystals, and a lot of copper coiled around it. I can guarantee you.
And some kind of energy source.
Because I know what that's used. Okay, so we use that stuff. Okay, it's for real.
But no, I mean I agree with you. But what this guy's got, and what you're using something that sure it's got copper and it's all, but this guy whatever he's doing is the real deal. We're making.
Or actually, you know what? You see, we use copper, right? Because that's the cheapest material that we can find. That's conductive. These guys were probably using gold. They were probably using gold. Yeah.
Yeah.
We can't afford that,
which makes a lot more sense. That's a good observation.
Well, the gold was the most valuable thing. I mean, it repaired their, according to the Sakurai Sitchin story now, okay, and which is something that he translated. And that's where I have a problem, is that some man interpreted this and translated this and then wrote it down. See, we don't know exactly how accurate.
And we just hope he did a good job.
But
we just hope he did a good job. That's all.
Stories is that the reason why they came here in the first place was almost gold fractals, like gold. Very, very, important to them, obviously, and hence why gold is the number one thing here that's valuable, right? I mean, whoever has the most gold, essentially, is the winner here.
Yeah, with this god,
right?
Well,
so I know Queen E, she had like, I don't know, a whole, oh my God. So I've seen some photos of how much gold she had. I don't know if she's the largest gold holder, the royals, but they're up there. I don't know who has the most. So I guess we'll find out. But whoever has the most is going to be the winner in this game.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. And then this is an interesting picture because you can see there's a giant on the top.
Yeah.
I don't know what it all means. It looks like, because we can't get the picture in, it looks like a moon, a half a moon with a star, and of course you got people underneath. And here's this king guy, and then of course you got people underneath that with a ladder. Now this is what baffles me, because they're showing a ladder, and it looks like this guy here is fallen. He's trying to get up, and then you got these guys doing something. I don't know what it is, but they're all underneath.
Underground. Yeah.
Underground. Yeah. And this
layers. It looks like concrete blocks that they're on top. Yeah. So they were under the ground, I guess.
Yeah. Layers of a building, like a building or a basement or
Yeah.
or a crawl space, because
Yeah.
whoever's this looks like the outside, with the moon and the sun, and then
Yeah.
everybody is underneath, and they're all shorter, smaller people hiding underneath. And as you go lower and lower, you get ladders, and this ladders showing you that it's possible to go up between the layers.
It's kind of like that game, Shoots and Ladders, isn't it?
Yeah, in a way, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. There's
So it's
lots
kind
going
of
on underground, I believe. I mean, we know that there is, like in Europe, there is underground tunnels from one country to the other. Like there's a lot more going on underground than what we realize. And so for some reason these people knew about this, and if there is things going on with the sun right now, which it looks like it is, because I've noticed it changed over the years, and then you have cycles of things that could happen. Yeah, being under the ground is probably the safest bet.
Yeah.
So, and that's probably how we survived in the first place. Because you've got to remember that however many they made of us in the beginning, we had that flood. So a lot of us did perish at that time. So there was just a few, so how many of us really was of us, as in this, whatever Homo sapien that we're now, versus how many of the other hominids? Mind you, there's no more hominids left, though, is there? That I know of.
No.
I don't think there is, so yeah, very interesting.
No.
I mean, there's, yeah,
exactly. I mean, it's crunch time. But here, look at this one. Here's the planets again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Again, a star
together like that, because that's not how they are in the sky.
I know, which is weird, but there's still 7 of them, just like there was before. And then, of course, then there here looks like a half. This like so crescent moon, and now you got this ship here. And from this angle, or the size of the ship to this man, in today's terms, would this not be maybe a drone?
It looks very Egyptian.
Would that be a
drone? Where the Egyptians got the whole with the wings and all of this, the symbolism, it looks very Egyptian to me.
What if this was a drone? You know what I mean? Because obviously it's kind of like hovering above him. It's kind of like attached to him. What if this is a drone?
Could be equivalent to what we understand as a drone. It could be, could be.
Yeah, because is it because if it was his ship, they would have put it up here with the stars and the moon. But no, it's kind of
the size compared to the guy. It doesn't look like a ship that he would travel in. It doesn't look big enough for that. So no, it must be something obviously a lot smaller, and that would be one way of keeping an eye on us without actually being there. Just get the drone over there.
Well, isn't Odin? Didn't Odin have 2 crows? That would fly out and tell him things that were happening.
Absolutely.
And
that's
and
right.
well,
that's right. There you go. So that could be part of the whole story, right? Because I've seen some of these on an August, I'm like, that looks like Odin to me. I'm like, so I think that, all over the world, they've gotten these stories from these guys, I think. And
they just, culture put its own twist on it. But here, this could be Odin, and he's got
it's a crow,
It's a crow, yeah.
Who comes back
if you look, it looks like it's got little legs here. See, look at the little legs coming off it, one here and one here. And then it looks like a bird.
It does,
but
doesn't it?
It's got 2 little eyes, and it's got wings, and it's like a bird, but it's not a bird. And what's like a bird but not a bird? A drone.
Yeah.
I mean,
and he's standing on a cow. He's standing on top of a cow. Oh my gosh.
On top of a cow. Or is it a cow? I don't know. I don't think it's a cow.
It looks like a cow or a bull. A bull, like a bull. It looks, I see the horns there, and it's got the tail, and it sure looks like a bull to me.
Well, yeah, maybe it is a bull. Okay, I'll give you that one. Yeah,
and
but
that ain't
so if this is a bull, well, how big a bull is. It's 2,000 pounds to carry a guy, he's got his drone and he's riding
Because
this
he's trying to get
bull.
up higher to lift this thing off, whatever this thing is, higher up. So he's
Yeah.
standing on the bull and then trying to, I don't know. Yeah. Or like a kite, you got to be up a certain distance to get that certain wind, in order to get that
Yeah,
kite
see, and
going.
he's got like a sword here, but he's working something in his hands. If you notice, he's working something in his hands, and he's got something over here in his hand or whatever. But could that be the controllers? I mean, we know what our controllers look like, but maybe they got a different type of controller. And he
Oh, you're breaking up there, Robert. We can't quite hear what you're talking right now. You're frozen.
he's working his eye. This planet is above. You know what I mean? Because it's kind of above his head, but not above his head. That's kind of the way I'm kind of looking at it. It's what's the hidden meaning here?
Yeah, could be.
He's working. This is Odin. He's working his crow, and what did Odin ride? What did he ride?
He had the Sleipnir. Was it a reindeer, or I can't remember what it was now? But yeah, he was. Yeah, I think that all of these stories come from this. There's different interpretations of it.
No, that could be a reindeer. It's got horns. I mean, of course, you wouldn't know what a bull is, but if you're up north, you know what a reindeer is.
It depends on where in the world you are, what animals are available there. So in Norway and Scandinavia, the reindeer is our most common thing that we heard a lot. We, up north, Laplanders, we have our own natives too in Norway, and that's another strange thing about us Caucasians. Like, where did we come from? Because even in Norway, we have our own natives there that are darker skin and dark hair, just like here.
Yeah.
And they're all about. They have the same tents as the Native Americans, made with reindeer skin, and all that kind of stuff. So the reindeer is very, very important to them, just like the buffalo was here, I guess. So whatever animal is available, that's obviously what they were using. So this is a bull, and bull is interesting too, because in India, cows are sacred.
Yeah.
Very sacred. So could this be why they consider the bulls sacred? Maybe because it was so close to the Anunnaki, to our maker.
That could be.
That's interesting.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And how good would it be if you're the Anunnaki to keep a watch on your slaves, the Igigi or the the human workers? You would have a drone. You'd fly above them. That would be your eyes and ears, and you would have your little controller, and you'd be riding your animal, because you're not walking, because you're above them. You're above the people working. You're riding. You're special. Yeah, this guy ain't doing work. This is not a worker guy.
No. So very interesting. So I don't know, you guys got any questions or any comments? I know we're an hour and a half in already now. Trying to reel it back into the connection between the fallen angels and the Igigi, right? We can't possibly go through the whole Anunnaki story. Now, are you guys interested in that Anunnaki story? I know we started, I think we were like, 3 episodes in or something, before I lost my channel there. I've noticed that the guy that made that video has now come up with revised videos. Like, he's revised it all into shorter sections from the looks of it. I don't know. Is that something that we want to do? Are you guys interested in the Anunnaki story? Is that something that you guys want us to continue on the story with this? And then, of course, we'll look more into the Igigi while we're there. Although there's not that much about them, really. That's what we told here today, I think, is about all there is in there about them. That from the looks of it, they were then left here. So Enlil and all these Enki and all these guys, they took off. Well, the Igigis were here, teaching us everything that we know. So essentially, they are our gods, our daddy. Well, that's our daddy right there, because they
Mm-hmm.
know everything. They taught us everything. We looked up to these beings, good or bad. So obviously some of the things they taught us probably didn't do us so good, but a lot of it obviously did, right? So yeah, very
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah.
You got to wonder, just like the flood thing, did they come back one day and say, yeah, we got to get rid of those Igigi guys? We'll just call it a natural disaster and have a flood, and then wipe everybody out, kind of thing,
Well, from
and
what I
kind of.
understand, yeah, from what I understand, these beings did live a long time, like thousands of years, but they do have an expiry date. So they're not going to live on
Yeah.
forever. So I would assume that the original Igigis that were here have long passed on now, because we're talking
Oh
a
yeah.
long time, right? This is a long time. So the original must have
Yeah.
passed on. The bloodlines, are here, and that's where the elites and the royal families are all about. And this is why they've been so adamant, more so back in the day than now, because they realize more how bad it is for the inbreeding and whatever. So they do try to, bring in some fresh blood once in a while. But back in the day, it's very common to marry your half sister. It wasn't quite your full sister, but your half sister. Yeah, that, and this is why men had more than one wife. They had a lot of concubines, so that there would be a lot more, and they could breed, and marry within, so to keep the bloodline going,
Yep.
to keep this essence, whatever this essence is. Could even be a fractal, like you said, to keep that strong, so it's not so diluted. Because and that probably is what's happening. We are so diluted now from the original
Mm-hmm.
Adamu, that it kind of explains why we're getting kind of, not so smart. We're getting
Yeah.
more and
Oh,
more
yeah.
retarded as every generation that goes by. And it doesn't help that they're, literally working against us, though, with the spraying and the chemicals, and just, um, we're not in a state here that's going to improve us at all, but I guess that's
Well, and
population.
that's the case too, because if they are still around, or they're managing, or they come back and they see, oh my gosh, you're killing yourselves,
Mm.
you're diluting this gene pool down so badly. You think they would look out and say, well, we're really smart, we're scientists, we know how it goes, just like a farmer. What does a farmer do? Hey, I got a bad line here, I'm going to take the best one, and I'll get rid of the rest, and maybe mix in some new stuff, and I'll have a good line, because the ones I got, they're just not working.
Yeah, I
They're
think
just
we've yeah, I think we've kind of come to the end of the story. As far as they're concerned, they got what they needed from this planet. They took off. They left some here to whatever. But and I think every planet has to basically outsource elsewhere, because there's always natural disasters that are happening. And once you start figuring out and you start noticing, and which we have, we know the cycles, and so it's, and I can see now why Musk wants to get off this planet, why they are trying, and I do believe that probably are up there already. Actually, when you go and Google this, whatever the Google Siri, whatever you ask, how many people are living up on Mars, it actually tells you a number, 100 and whatever, something. I can't remember how many now. There's people up there already. And they're
Mhm.
probably trying to do exactly what they were doing back then, before it happens, so who
Well,
knows.
and the thing is even if you couldn't live on the surface of Mars, oh, well, who's to say you couldn't live under the surface of Mars?
Well, they probably are, just like they are in the moon, and probably under here as well. But according to Carson, though, he was showing us some pictures. Apparently Mars is a beautiful planet, just like here, but they're lying about it. And that's the thing. We
Yeah.
don't know. The people in charge of this planet is not truthful about what's going on, and keeping us in the dark, literally. And So there's a lot more to it all than what we know, obviously, and that's what we're here to try to figure it out, and hopefully stir something up in you guys so that you will go and research some more. Go and check it out and see what you find. And leave us some
Mhm.
comments, when you do find something, and let us know what you want us to do as far as the Sunday shows. Do you want us to dive into the Anunnaki, or should we dive into that book that I was talking to you about there about the polar shifts?
Oh yeah.
Because that seems to be something that's happening. There is no doubt that there is changes in the climate. I just don't believe it
Yeah.
is what they're saying it is. And so there
Yeah.
could very well be another natural disaster, coming upon us. They know about it, and so they're getting prepared for it. It's just the rest of us don't know, exactly what it is. We have a feeling that something's coming. We just don't know what it is,
Well,
So
if you listen to suspicious observers, that Ben Davison says the poles are going to, we're going to have a pole shift, and it's going
I
the
know,
Earth's
that's
going
what
to
I'm
flip over.
saying. I know. And that would
You
explain
know.
the changes in the weather, changes, with all these hurricanes and floods. And mind you, a lot of it, I think, is actually them, but
Yeah.
because weather modification is a real thing. We've seen it, it's something that they know how to do. And originally it was designed for good, of course. And then, they start, we always seem to go there, using it for bad. We always seem to do that, so, which is too bad.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
yeah. So let us know down in the comment section, what you guys think we should do. Do you want to dive into the pole shift thing, the Adam and
Yeah.
Eve story? Yeah,
Chad Tatum's Adam and Eve story. Yeah. That's all.
I got the PDF already. I was trying to read it the other day. I didn't get far in there, but it is all about the pole shift thing, and it's it might be a little scary for some people, but for others, maybe it's worth looking into. I don't know. Let us know. What do you think, Robert? What do you think we should dive into?
Well, I think we could combine a pole shift, with the recent knowledge, like we can prove in fact that the poles have been moving faster and faster in which direction they're going to be moving in. And like
Mm,
it says, I watch the suspicious observers every day, and that Ben Davison keeps he's like, hey, it's the sun. The magnetosphere gets weak, the poles shift. It moves the poles, and eventually, when the poles flip over, the magnetosphere will go back to strong,
mm.
and things will change. But hey, that's just the way the world works. I mean, otherwise, they wouldn't be finding camel bones in Canada. They wouldn't be finding whale bones in Egypt, in the Sahara Desert. And
Well, one can
something's
blame that on the whole flood thing, though. Like if the Earth did flood the way that they say it is, which there is evidence that we did have a flood here, that would kind of
yeah.
explain it. Wouldn't that wash things around? Does that kind of,
Well, yeah.
yeah.
Yes, it would, but it just makes you wonder that, was this can we trust those scientists who say, yeah, Antarctica has been frozen for, 40 million years, but then how come they got maps of the coastline?
Yeah, there's
You
a
know,
lot of
that,
lying going
that,
on.
that makes sense.
Yeah, there's a lot of lying going on. And that's the thing. Like, I think the Earth is completely different than what they've
That
told us.
guy who made that map back in the 1500s, he made that map in the 1500s off an older map. But don't tell me that the older map was made from, something made 20,000 years ago. Now,
Hmm.
I would call bullshit on that. I found
Yeah.
a 20,000-year-old map. I think I'll make a new one. It'll fall
Yeah,
apart.
and it's funny because you look at the old maps, there's all kinds of things in there that's not in the new map, and so NASA's been lying, and there's so many things that we could be diving into, honestly, and so this is where I'm putting it out there. Like, what do you want to see? What do you find interesting that you would like us to um, talk about here on the Sunday shows? Let us know, either email us or just comment down below, and yeah, give us your input because you guys are the audience. So, we're doing this for you guys. So, you know what I mean? So, yeah. So, I think that's all we have for tonight. So make sure that you guys are hitting that like wherever you are, whichever platform you're on right now. Share this out, okay, so other people can get the information as well, and we can grow the channel. And if you are so inclined, we do have some merch. We got the Nina's Truth as well as the Alta Corona that you can see Robert is wearing there. And yeah, there you go. Can't go wrong with the little ancient symbols, you know. Gotta do
That's
whatever we
right.
can to stay healthy, I guess. And yeah,
That's
so
right.
thank you all for watching, and check out the description for Robert's channel. I can't put any links in here again. We're having
Hmm.
all kinds of issues with the internet and electrical equipment. So what can
You're
I?
telling
What can
me. I
Yeah.
had them today.
Well, I'm glad you
Uh,
made it here, Robert. Why don't you quickly tell us about what you got coming up here, and we'll wrap this.
well, this week we got Native American myths and legends on Tuesday, and we're going to be talking about Wooden Leg, an Indian from the Sioux tribe. He, it's interesting. You'll have to tune in to find out who Wooden Leg was. So that's what we're going to be talking. And of course, David Null will be joining me for some great stories and pulling a card at the end. And then, of course, we'll be back on Saturday for our weekly Saturday night show. Even though this last week we did gardening, and so go check that one out. I got some videos of my garden and how to plant tomatoes and cabbage and peppers, and it was good. Maybe the sound was a little off. It was kind of windy, but hey, still it's still interesting.
Yeah, no, it was nice to see your place there. You got a nice big place there. It was kind of fun, and Andrew joined you there, and you got some information
Mm-hmm.
from there, and so it was good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, exactly. I really enjoy his garden, and I can't wait to plant some potatoes in a bag.
There you go. Yeah, I even have some of those bags. I see when the whole Rona situation happened, I knew what was happening. That's the thing about having knowledge, so I went and got all kinds of things. And I got 2 giant potato sack bags. And the ones that I have, you can open up the side and harvest without taking anything out. So you can just
Nice.
go in there and grab the potatoes and then close it back up again. So it's great for, if you don't have big land like you do, if you're either in an
Mhm.
apartment even, or just in a regular house, just having it in bags or raised up or containers. There's lots of ways of growing stuff without having a big garden. So yeah, so
Mhm.
I'm just keeping all that stuff for the day when, the stores are closed and my kids realize, oh shit, we're gonna have to grow stuff now. So I'm like, well,
Yep.
guess what? I already got this. I already got that. I got the seeds. I got everything. We're ready to go. I'm just waiting for everybody to get on board. But yeah, enough about that. I'll close this off now. So thank you all for watching, and stay tuned. Of course, I got Hump Day on Wednesday, and I'm not even sure what we're gonna do yet for Sunday. We'll have to think about this and then give us some feedback. What would you like to see us do on next Sunday? So, yeah, thank you all for watching. Take care, and we'll see you in the next one, everybody. Bye.